Hey, what's going on? So whether this is your first review that you're watching, or if you've been a long time watcher of all my review videos, there is the first test I always do, and I always say this thing. So the very first test we're gonna do is on antioxidants, and this is the most important test out of all of the tests we're doing today. The first thing that we are testing this for is antioxidants. Now this is the most important test. First test we are doing is on antioxidants, and this is the most important test. And so in this video, I'm going to share with you why I personally believe it is. And I know in all the review videos, I do a lot of talking and I give a lot of data and stats and stuff, but I don't really show the resources that I get them from. So this video is going to actually be a variety of different resources that I will have links down in the comments or in the description, so you can actually grab these for yourself and you can see where I'm coming from to ultimately understand why I feel antioxidants is the most important test, how it affects our health, and what does this really have to do with water, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. So the very first thing we gotta figure out is what the heck is an antioxidant, all right? And in order to do that, we're gonna turn to a couple of books, and you're gonna see really why they benefit just from the title of these books. Okay, so the first book is Antioxidants Against Cancer. All right, I want to make sure you can see that well. It is by Dr. Ralph Moss. It's a really thin book, and it's really going to share with you what antioxidants you could use to battle against cancer, right? So we're already starting to see why this plays a major role. But when we open it up and read, here's a page I want to share with you. The term antioxidant was coined in the 1920s to denote any substance that fought rust or other forms of oxidation. Oxygen-containing compounds give rise to molecules called free radicals. In the body, free radicals can set off little chain reactions that wreak havoc. Right, so in his book, he really breaks down different antioxidants that you could use for your health, right? And of course, to fight against cancer. But he's not the only one who talks about antioxidants. Another book that I recommend here is The Antioxidant Miracle. Now this book is a much thicker book compared to the first one, and it is actually written by Dr. Lester Packer, and he's the director of Packer Lab at the University of California at Berkeley. And you have Carol Coleman, who is a best-selling co-author for The Melatonin Miracle and Stop Depression Now. And here's what they say. Antioxidants are a group of compounds that are produced by the body and that occur naturally in many foods. Antioxidants work together in the body to maintain our health and vigor well into the late decades of our life. They do this by protecting us from damage caused by free radicals, which can injure healthy cells and tissues. So there's yet another doctor, and he's actually called Dr. Antioxidant because of all of the studies and all the trips that he makes across to different cities and giving speeches and stories and sharing his studies on why antioxidants are so important. Okay, and we heard that thing about free radicals again. We're going to talk about that in detail here in a little bit, but I want to share this thing. Like, how do antioxidants help? Okay, like what do they help? We heard of this thing of free radicals, and we know that they could do damage, and it's the equivalent of really like just having a very nice shop with all these nice expensive things, and then someone coming through with a hammer and just destroying everything, right? So free radicals are crazy in that regard. And here's the thing to keep in mind that we also heard. Antioxidants are naturally in the body, and we get them from the things we consume. Same thing with free radicals. Free radicals are in our body as well, and they also come in from the things that we're consuming. But we want to ensure that we have more antioxidants to neutralize a lot of the free radicals that we deal with every day. All right, so you may be saying to yourself, like, okay, I never went to a doctor and had to complain about a free radical, right? So how do antioxidants help? Well, let's check out a few more pages from the Antioxidant Miracle book, and let me know if you're experiencing any of these symptoms. Are you getting sick more often than you used to? As we age, immune function declines, making us vulnerable to disease. Tufts University researchers have found that antioxidants can rejuvenate an aging immune system. You think you got bad genes? Many of us inherit the tendency to develop cancer and other diseases. The good news is that antioxidants can turn off these bad genes and greatly reduce our risk of developing hereditary diseases. Are you feeling that you're not as sharp as you used to be? Numerous studies suggest that antioxidants can prevent and perhaps even reverse age-related memory loss and mental problems. Do you have a child with attention deficit disorder or ADD? Or do you have ADD yourself? There's growing evidence that antioxidants can improve concentration and focus in people suffering from ADD. Do you wake up with aches and pains? Antioxidants can relieve the symptoms of arthritis and other inflammatory conditions. So these are just a few things that you may have been to the doctor for to try to get medications for when you really just need antioxidants. And of course, one of the big things is antioxidants against cancer, right? So that's ultimately what we're trying to prevent amongst all the other things, right? So now we have an idea on some of these things. We really want to know how. How specifically can these antioxidants help, right? And the challenge I have about both of these books, while I do like them, they're mainly talking about vitamins and food as a way of being an antioxidant, as a way of being able to neutralize a lot of this damages done by the free radicals. Well, actually, let's go ahead and talk about those free radicals now in this next book that I have for you. Now, probably one of the biggest books that I'm going to recommend is Healing is Voltage. This is a handbook by Dr. Jerry Tennant, and he believes that in order to heal, you just heal at the right voltage. You got to be at the right voltage. Check this out. Here's his story on what a free radical and an antioxidant are. A free radical is a molecule that is missing electrons. It is like a mugger looking for someone's purse to steal. When a free radical steals an electron from the cell, it damages the cell. An antioxidant is a molecule capable of giving away electrons. Thus, when your mother says eat your vegetables, she is saying that the vegetables contain electrons that are good for you. We maintain our health and heal primarily by making new cells, and to make new cells requires a voltage of negative 50 millivolts. Alright, so Dr. Jerry Tennant, he's actually now talking about the thing that you see me do in all my videos in that first test where I break out that the oxidative reduction potential meter, and I'm showing the electrical charge of the beverages I'm testing, okay? In fact, he has this chart here, so check this out. On the left, he has electron stealers. These are things that cause damage, and he actually ties this to pH. Has them in a pH of between 0 to 6.9. He also breaks down that they're acidic, okay? They're free radicals, and they are destructive in nature. While the items on the right are electron donors, they can do work. Instead of damaging, they actually help us, okay? They actually have the pH of 7.1 all the way up to 14. They're alkaline, they're an antioxidant, and they are constructive, right? So when we have challenges, they actually help repair and get the body back to its optimum state, or even get that cell back to its optimum state. Electron stealers cause damage and are a pH of 0 to 6.9, are acidic, and are free radicals. And so he shares this one piece right here. You'll hear this statement, all disease occurs when you are acidic. With that, what this is really saying is that all disease occurs when your voltage is low or is in an electron stealer state. So this is completely like mind-blowing, right? Because if we don't have the electrical charge that we need for ourselves or for ourselves, we feel tired, right? We start hurting. And so everything that we consume is either giving us electrons, giving us that electrical energy, or it's taking it away. Simple as that, right? This is very, very simple. That's the way I'm gonna lay it out. There's other details, because this book is super thick. And he goes into specifically what minerals you need, what things work where, like what parts of the body have different voltages and why. Like, this is a really awesome book. Highly, highly recommend checking it out. Once again, it's going to be in the description of this video, along with all the other books I've shared so far. So let's take this voltage thing and let's actually do an example of it, okay? Let's do a live example. Not a live example, but let me give you an example of what happens when we get hurt, okay? So let's take a look at my thumb, all right? My thumb is running at negative 25 millivolts. Just about most of our cells, when we're in optimum health, they're running at negative 25 volts, okay, millivolts. Now, let's say that my thumb got hit with a hammer, okay? When that happens, voltage for the thumb is going to shoot up to negative 50 millivolts, all right? And the reason why is because our body is knowing, it's like, oh my gosh, you're in pain, right? You just got hurt, you got damaged cells. So we're going to send you some different fatty acids. We're going to send you some different compounds, some different things to help rebuild the cells that got damaged there or create new ones. So your body is going to start sending proteins, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, all these types of things that you need to make those new cells. And also, if you have it, it's going to send the electricity that you need in order to build it, right? So you can have all those things in you, but if you do not have the electricity, you're not going to be able to take all those raw materials and build new cells with them. Now, if you have all the raw materials and you have the voltage that you need, your thumb, or my thumb in this case, will actually, the swelling will stop, the redness will go away, and it will go back to how it felt. It'll feel fine. Be back to that 25 millivolts. Now, let's say I didn't have enough voltage to finish repairing the cells and replace the cells for my thumb. And let's say I dropped down to a negative 10. My thumb is always going to be hurting. Okay, so this is known as your chronic illness, right? So anytime we're waking up with different aches and pains in our back, in our elbows, and our joints, it means that we don't have either the minerals, the tools to actually rebuild those cells, but it also means we don't have the electrical charge and that those cells in that area are lower. And because of that, all the supplies that was sent to that area, it becomes waste. And from there, it leads to acidity and all these other kinds of things that ends up happening, all right? So that's ultimately what's happening when it comes to antioxidants. And so if we're constantly consuming things that are oxidizing, constantly, and we're not putting in enough things that are antioxidants, then we're not going to heal. When we get hurt, when we get injured, when we're working out, or when we're playing with the kids, all those kinds of things that we hurt and we stretch and hurt muscles and things like that, we tear them. If we don't have the right tools, we're not building those muscles up again to make them stronger. Or we could be, it's just happening at a lot slower rate because we're not consuming the right antioxidants to make that happen. Now, I could go into specifically what can we do to get more antioxidants and what are things that are more specific things that are electron stealers, but I want to keep this focused on water, so definitely check out these books to learn more. In summary, here's what we need to know. The cells in the body are designed to run at negative 20 to negative 25 millivolts. To heal by making new cells, we must achieve that negative 50 millivolts. We get chronically sick when the voltage drops below negative 20. And when that voltage drops below negative 20, we get chronic pain. Because of that, oxygen levels drop, and they are controlled by the voltage level, and then we don't get enough ATP, and all these other things happen. And really, that chronic pain and that chronic inflammation that we're talking about, it always happens due to not having the proper voltage. So now we know this. Like, how is this tied to water? Okay, let's talk about it. So now that we know that electron donors are antioxidants and how it helps our body, it's pretty easy to see what's going on here. Our body is 70% water. And so if we're drinking water that is acidic, right? And we're drinking water that has a positive charge when we use that ORP meter, it's taking away electrons. It's taking away electrons from our body, and it's leading to those different challenges that we're experiencing day in and day out when it comes to pain. And some of you have seen me test not only waters, but you see me test carbonated beverages and sodas, and those have oxidation potentials that are way higher than bottled water. So it's doing that much more damage to our body. which is leading to all the other things, all the other health challenges that we're experiencing. It's leading to the cancers. It's leading to those itises, right? Tendinitis, bronchitis. That's just inflammation happening in different parts of the body. That's our different parts of the body where you don't have the electrons that you need to heal. You don't have the electrons, and or you're not consuming the right foods to have the raw materials you need to make those new cells. So one more book to tie this all together and bring it home is Killing Cancer Not People by Robert Wright. He lost both of his parents to chemotherapy and radiation, and so he writes books and helps people to ensure that they don't go through the same thing. So I'm going to share with you a few pages from his book to kind of tie this all together and bring it home. Here's what he says. Most of us know that the body is about 70% water. We should drink 8 glasses a day. Humans can go for weeks without food, but only 3 to 4 days without water. What we don't know or fail to realize is that most water is acidic. Much of it is dead, meaning it has no minerals. And tap water is full of poison, chlorine and fluoride, and it struggles to hydrate our cells and contains oxidants rather than antioxidants. Let's break it down. We've already discussed the importance of the acid-alkaline problem with cancer patients. Most humans are acid, which promotes dis-ease. Remember the pH scale. pH stands for potential of hydrogen or perhydrogen, which just equates to the amount of hydrogen atoms or hydroxide ions, which are alkaline, within a substance. So a pH of 8 would mean many times more hydroxide atoms, alkaline, than a pH of 6, which is actually 100 times more. And this is important for 2 reasons. First, with a water with a pH of 8 would have a tendency to alkalize us, while that of a 6 would acidify our bodies. Secondly, hydrogen is essential to fuel us and heal us. Water has an electrical energy that can be measured in millivolts, and that capacity for electrical charge can be positive or negative and lost or gained over time. What is imperative to understand here is that positively charged hydrogen atoms or ions makes water acidic, while a hydrogen atom that bonds with an oxygen atom produces a negative charge molecule of water that is alkaline. Increasing alkalinity leads to decreasing the oxidation. The effects of free radicals or oxidation of the cells can be better described as hepatitis, cirrhosis, and cancer in the liver, pancreatitis, diabetes, and cancer in the pancreas, and so many things, right? So while all are bad, do you see the common denominator? Yes, it is cancer. All of these things link to cancer. So the whole reason why I feel this is the most important test is if we're consuming bad, if we're eating the hamburgers, the french fries, the ribs, and all that stuff that's acidic, and we're washing it down with water that's also acidic, we're not doing ourselves any favors. And even the times that we eat healthy, there's so many other things around us that are taking electrons. And if we're not putting electrons back into our body, then we're doing ourselves a disservice. And our body is 70% water. We should be drinking water that gives us electrons, not takes them away. All right? So hopefully this paints a picture of why I feel this is the most important test. And we hit it a little bit on pH, which is why pH is not the first one, which is why antioxidants is. And the reason why I'm going to share in the next video, because you can change the pH. And you see that in the bottled waters, right? Changing the pH can be schemed. It can be tricked. And there's actually 2 parts to that, right? It's the minerals that we have, but it's also that voltage. If we do not have that electrical charge, it's not doing us any good. And sometimes we're being masked. We're being tricked into thinking that we're drinking something that's alkaline when it really isn't. All right. Hopefully you understand this video. Hopefully you got some value out of it. Check out those books, read up on it, and if you're serious about your health, then you'll make this the #1 thing that you improve, you learn, you devote to in your life as far as food and what we're consuming. All right. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any questions down below. And if you're curious about what water I recommend, that is a very strong antioxidant. that has antioxidant properties and potentials at OH negative, then check out the masterclass. It will be the first pinned comment in the link below this video. All right. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.